Mr. Stawa, President of CEPEJ. Well, CEPEJ has already mentioned numerous times during the past few days. We would like to hear your opinion about IT developments, the role of IT in legal system, in judiciary, in enforcement.
Thanks a lot, Jos, and dear colleagues, hi, welcome from my side here on this late afternoon. Thanks for giving us the flowers, but it is to give the flowers back as I see that there are global rules of ethics, of enforcement, which also is coming from close cooperation we had over the last years. And I have the impression that your institution and the Council of Europe always are a little bit close to these topics, to think about what will happen, not now, but in the next 5 and 10 years. And there we are nailing the point, and I try to be very brief, because I think a little bit we are sitting here like people in the year 1800 talking about the effect the steam engine will have in the next 100 years. And likely we all agree that people in the year 1800 had no clue about what will be real effect of a steam engine. And it's a little bit the same here. We're talking about artificial intelligence. We have a little bit an idea what blockchain might offer. The Estonians a little bit more than the others. And still we are a little bit walking in the dark. Because if we look on all that kind of e-justice problems and solutions we were talking about the last hours, it is still that we all are caught a little bit in the years about 1870, when very smart law professors created what we are still following, code of civil procedure, for example. Having the idea that someone is waking up in the morning, saddling the horse, riding to the court with the claim in his hand, coming to the courtroom, meeting the counterpart in front of a judge, discussing the claim. Judge is making a solution, a decision. Both parties are riding home, one a little bit more happier than the other. And then an enforcement agent is maybe coming onto the scene and again saddling the horse, riding to the party, collecting something, seizing something. No, this is not what is, if we talk about real e-justice. The status of e-justice, even if they are very smart solutions, are still this electronic saddling the horse and electronically riding to the court by PDF, by scanned PDF in secure environment, mailed to something. But this is not taking into account that next step will be something which is really virtual thing. When we're talking about e-codex, about local authorities, about enforcement agents in one country able to seize in another country, we're still thinking about these geographic things where someone on the map draw red lines around explaining that this is country A and country B, and it's a little bit more complicated if I want to seize something in country B because I'm an enforcement agent in country A. Who the hell is taking care about if we talk about Bitcoin or if about the Uber cab, which is maybe having a legal issue there? I take that kind of picture you mentioned when arriving here. When I was arriving the airport in Bangkok, when I was crossing the arrival hall, first thing I checked on my mobile phone, because I knew that if I go in the analog world out and hire a cab, I will pay approximately the double price which is usually paid here. So as I was not aware of the real price, I checked on the internet, what about Uber? Uber doesn't exist in Bangkok. Then I checked Google. Google was recommending me GrabCar and offering a ride for about 300 baht. While I was crossing the arrival hall, I was downloading and installing GrabCar. So to say, I trusted GrabCar. Then I forwarded even my credit card, and when I was exiting the arrival hall, GrabCar was even giving me a discount about 100 baht because I would pay with my credit card. So I was ordering a car. 5 minutes later, a car was standing here, a nice guy who was then driving me to the hotel for, at the end, 250 baht. Maybe I was broken a lot of rules because it is half legal or illegal to use that kind of cab, or he is not on social security insurance or whatever. But honestly, even as a legal guy, I don't know. I didn't care. This is total virtual business, what is happening here, and it is self-executing. And that is bringing us a little bit into what might come if you look on some really smart solutions, meaning that if you want to go for a trial, or if you're deciding to go for a criminal trial in the United States, you have a branch which is predicting what might be the outcome. And simply by analyzing thousands of court decisions, they are able to predict what will be the decision at the desk of Judge Miller in District Court number 1 in Chicago if I have a traffic accident and I fill in my basic data. And their accuracy is close in some cases, in some kind of branches of cases, close to 92%, which means it's the same failure rate than a human judge. And if a machine, even without artificial intelligence, is able to deliver the same decision like a human judge with the same failure rate, but not in 3 months if you have a quick decision, but immediately, what kind of commercial company will ask for a judicial decision by a human brain if the machine is delivering it? And even if we talk about decisions, then it is not a classical decision of a human judge in front of the two parties which were written to the court in the morning. It is just that an application will do it, and insurance companies will always agree to deal it with these kind of applications. The fact is that it is not to make the judge an e-justice judge, it is that these kind of cases never appear in front of a judge anymore. No one is going to the court in the way like we did 20 years ago. And then, of course, there's always, in the discussions we also had it in this afternoon, that someone is coming and said, but the judges have not to become robots, and robots will never become judges or enforcement agents because, and then these examples like, if we go into the house, we see that, the children are sick, so we cannot see this and that. Or this guy needs the car to apply for his next job, and therefore in his special surroundings he will be able to get more money. Sorry, guys. Google knows it better. Yeah? Google knows all these things about me. A friend of mine was 2 weeks ago saying, now I believe Google knows more about me than my mother. And very likely it's the case. And for some reason, it is good that Google knows things my mother don't. But Google knows if I'm sick. If I check 3 times a day, sitting under the air condition, the term headache, Google assumes that maybe tomorrow is not my best day. Yeah? Google knows that my son was definitely knows that my son was on emergency room in a hospital in Vienna yesterday due to his track data on Google Maps. Even he was just funny posting only a picture of himself on the stretcher in the emergency room without any kind of comment. His mother did simply check Google Maps because he allowed her to follow him and was identifying the hospital he was in. These are things Google knows quicker and even better than an enforcement agent who will come maybe in 2 weeks. So I wouldn't mind if Google or any kind of other application is doing these kind of decisions instead of a human judge who might decide about something in 3 months, or an enforcement agent who needs to come if it's done immediately. And I think this is a total new reality which is coming up. 20 years ago, no one was thinking about that a computer will win a chess game against, it was Garry Kasparov, I think. 20 years ago, he lost against this Blue Deep computer of IBM. Later on, computers won the Go strategy, which is a very game which is popular in Asia, coming up with new strategies never ever someone thought about. And recently I read in a book that there is a Chinese risk investment fund who has 4 board members. 3 of them are human brains, and 1 is an algorithm. It's called Vital. And the interesting thing is that not only the algorithm was, of course, better in sorting out where to put the money and where to invest, but the algorithm also introduced and invented a favor for companies and investments who prefer artificial intelligence. Creepy a little bit, I have to assume, and then I come to the conclusion, but something which is not to be created because it is there. And the only question is how to adapt our world and our rules, however they are, our laws, into this. Last example of something which exists and which is closing the thing back to why we're sitting here. At Samsung Laboratories, there is a famous fridge already existing, which knows what is in, because every product has some kind of smart chip, and the outside door is a touch screen. And if you in the morning are asking yourself what for dinner, the fridge is making some kind of suggestion due to the fact what is in your fridge and what might expire soon. And the suggestion might be, okay, tonight I suggest steak. And then, of course, there is a shopping list of items you might use in addition. And the fridge is suggesting that it is a good idea to have vegetables with your steak. Because the watch on your armrest is indicating that your blood pressure is a little bit out of trim and you had a lot of unhealthy things this week. But you say, no, I don't want to have vegetables with my steak, I want to have French fries, because it's more in favor of that. The computer, maybe in this fridge, is saying, yeah, on the online shop, I only will order you vegetables for tonight and not French fries, because it's bad for your health. And then a colleague comes in at the store and said, yeah, but then I want, for the German colleagues, I say it in this German web, and I would translate that. German colleague said, I would like to have a Scheiß drauf button. The Germans are laughing, I will translate it. The colleague said, I want a button on my fridge which is a I don't care button. And which means that I want to be able to override it. Cool point, because this is when, if we're talking about values, if we're talking about freedom, if we talk about fundamental rights we were fighting the last 200, 300 years in Europe, this has to be implemented into the new world. Maybe the nice Korean engineer who is designing this kind of fridge is not aware of that we want to have this kind of Scheiß drauf button, because he thinks that health is the ultimate goal. We want to live longer, want to eat more healthy, so it's a good idea for a Korean engineer that we have vegetables with our steak and not French fries. Yeah? And same goes along with then, if you have the idea to go out and say, okay, and I ride to the supermarket on my own, and you jump into your self-driven car and say, okay, even I go to the restaurant to have a steak with French fries there. And the car is answering, no, I will drive you to the medical doctor to measure your blood pressure, because your armrest watch tells me and your networked fridge has decided no French fries tonight. So that's the point, to get it back to serious things, that it is the time when this train you mentioned is riding high speed through all the stations. Those who are in or have the opportunity to board it on next stop should implement our values at the end, or our ideas of what is rule of law, what is our ethical fundings, what is our grounds on our self-understanding, to get it on board of this kind of algorithm, which will definitely steer that train in the future.
Thank you very much, Georg.